Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast, Coach Colin here. And I'm telling you, when it comes to these MMA shows that Joe Rogan does, don't pass them up. Give them a little bit of a listen. In this one, it's Bo Nickal and Joe Rogan sitting and talking about a great story that Bo Nickal has about Trump. And I just wanted to bring this to you guys because with everything that's going on, I know things seem very dark when it comes to Trump running for president. I get it 100%. I just wanted to bring this as a little ray of sunshine because right now all the news you're hearing about him is dark and very, very much sad, to say the least. Sad for supporters and honestly, sad for the country, whether or not the other side realizes it. Let's get into this clip. Do not forget about IamCoachColin.com. Discount code is IamCoachColin, all capital letters, all one word, one L in the name Colin. Let's get into this clip.
Fun, and the way they do it, you know, the energy in Las Vegas when there's a big fight, it's unbelievable.
There's nothing like it.
There is nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
And that's where I want to be. Like, you know, if I could fight 50 times a year, like I would do it. If that was feasible, you know, because wrestling, it was in college, I'd wrestle 50 matches in a year. But, you know, you can't do that with fights. But if I could, man, I just love that. Like I'll do it every weekend. It's so much fun.
I went to the UFC in Austin last weekend, and is the rare moment where I get to watch.
Right.
And just sit there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude.
Probably, yeah.
No headphones on, just appreciate the crowd. Like, the fucking energy is crazy.
Yeah.
It's like you're on a drug just sitting there.
Dude, were you at UFC Miami earlier
Yes.
this year? How crazy was it when Trump walked out?
Insane.
I've never experienced that. It's like, I was
Bro,
like,
it was
whoa.
more crazy when he walked out in Madison Square Garden.
Really?
Yes.
Jeez.
The Madison Square Garden one, the last fight was fucking bananas.
It's
dude.
Unbelievable.
It was
I've never
like
heard a crowd like
over a minute of people screaming at the top of their lungs as he's walking in.
Nuts.
This country is fed up.
Yeah.
This is a
Seriously.
fed up country.
Yeah.
You know, the mainstream media can say all the shit they want, and they're trying, but the people aren't buying it.
No. And that's the perfect example right there is, you know, 20,000 people or whatever, like losing their minds when the dude's walking to the cage. It's like, there's no fighter that gets that. But yeah, the country, it's like, you can tell. You just talk to people or see what's going on. It's like, you could tell.
Well, you know, there's people that voted for Biden that are doing it now.
Yeah.
They're like, what did I do?
Right.
Like, what did I choose? Like, how is this guy?
Yeah, you just can't listen to an interview or he's saying some of the stuff he says that just makes no sense at all. It's like, you can't listen to those interviews and feel like you made a good decision. I don't know how you
Did you hear what he said like yesterday or a couple days ago? He was talking about the Revolutionary War. He's like, one of the reasons why we lost the Revolutionary War, one of the problems with the Revolutionary War was they didn't have enough airports. Yeah. Have you seen that?
I saw that. Like, what the
Like, pull him.
It's crazy.
If you had any other job and you were talking like that,
Yeah.
they would go, hey, you're done.
If you talk like that to a doctor at your medical exam to fight, they'd be like, okay, like obviously you're not fighting. You would also, here's 8 weeks of being helped out by professional. Like,
right, you might not ever do anything again.
No, it's one of the wildest things ever.
It's insane.
Yeah,
and the media gaslighting you to protect. It's just people are so afraid of Trump being in office and Republicans being in office.
You know, it's funny because right after my last fight, he was cage side with Dana. And then I got back home, and he invited me out to Bedminster in Jersey. He was like, "Come golf with me." Coolest freaking dude, man. He was like, we didn't talk about politics. We didn't talk about anything. When I first got there, rolled up. I mean, there's 30 Secret Service members. You know, everybody's doing their thing, and he did a few like kind of worked with one of his secretaries, like make some announcements and do some stuff. But then we just golfed for like 4 hours. Rode in the cart with him, and he was like the coolest guy. So with it, so smart, asking me about fighting. We're talking about, you know, all the boxing. We talk about football, talk about golf, and he was so sharp and with it. And it was me. This is like the craziest thing. Like, I grew up in a town of 5,000 people in Wyoming. Now I'm fighting on the UFC, and then with Trump golfing, it's me, Trump, O.J. Anderson, who's an NFL running back, Super Bowl MVP, and LT. And like that's the foursome. And I'm like, wow, what the heck is going on here? But
that's gotta feel surreal.
It was super surreal, and nothing really, like, he was such a bro and so cool and so he's 70, I think he's 70, upper 70s, and couldn't believe how smart and sharp the guy was. Like, I was like, wow, like this is
bizarre, right?
Right, like super with it.
He's the only guy that went through 4 years in the White House and didn't seem to age.
No.
Everybody gets in that White House and they just fall apart. Their hair gets gray. They look tired all the time. They just look like the weight of the world, which it literally is on their shoulders.
I think he
like
loves it.
Fucking duck to water.
Yeah, he's like, what are you gonna say? Come on. Like, this was the craziest thing. So him and LT were playing like $1,000 a hole or something, and He smoked him on Trump. Like people, I golf with him. The dude's amazing golfer. I couldn't believe it how good he was. Every fairway, right down the middle, hit every green, making all his putts. And he won the first 9 like pretty easy. And then the last 9, it was going in the 18th hole. Him and LT were tied or something. It was like the winner. It was like all came down to this last hole, and they both hit great drives. And LT hit like a good approach shot, and Trump gets up there. He's probably like 150 yards from the green, and he sets up, just stripes it straight at the pin. Ball's like in the middle of the arc, like not even coming down yet. He turns around, doesn't even watch it land, walks right back to the cart, sits down, and the guy's like, "Nice shot, Mr. President." And I was like, "Damn, that was clutch." And he looks at me, he goes, "Don't you want your president to be clutch?" And I was like, "For sure, man." And he hit it 2 feet from the pin and tapped it in. And I was like, "Jeez."
That's pretty slick.
It was slick. I was like, he was just a cool dude, though. It was funny.
It's a weird time because there's people in this country that want to think he's Hitler.
I know. Yeah.
It's very strange.
Like, you couldn't convince me otherwise. Just hanging out with the guy, I'm like, man.
Well, it's just the media narrative. I mean, so many people were fed this lie that the Russia collusion.
Yeah.
Was
this the video you're talking about?
Let me see what this one says. I don't think it is.
What? By the way, the same stable genius that said the biggest problem we had in the Revolutionary War is we didn't have enough airports. Whoa.
Yeah, that's it.
Whoa.
Right. What?
Just for the record.
Is that fake?
It's not fake, but he was referencing Trump saying that. Here's what Trump saying it in 2019.
Oh.
Donald Trump said something about that. And he didn't say Jesus. He said a stable genius, and that's where the transcription.
Let me hear what it says. What did he say?
In June of 1775, the Continental Congress created a unified army out of the revolutionary forces encamped around Boston and New York, and named after the great George Washington, Commander-in-Chief. The Continental Army suffered a bitter winter of Valley Forge, found glory across the waters of the Delaware, and seized victory from Cornwallis of Yorktown. Our army manned the airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he fucked up.
Yeah, I did. But I feel like that's you can tell too. It sounds like a little different. He's like, you can tell he like messed up his words, but yeah. He's just, I don't know.
To go over the airports.
Well, that's the thing
funny.
about media these days. It's like,
right.
You
never
got to
know.
look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's probably the most coherent thing Biden's ever fucked up. Like some of the things. Just,
Have you heard? I got hairy legs.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's so many of them.
Yeah. Seriously.
I mean, it's unfortunate because the guy's older and he really
Yeah.
shouldn't be in that position.
Right.
I mean, if he was your dad, you'd feel terrible. You'd be like, "Dad, you got to stop. Like, you shouldn't be doing this."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
No, it's weird. What's your tour? Strange Time? Is it Strange Times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Strange
These are the
times.
strangest times.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
There's a really interesting clip. See if you can go to that clip on my Twitter page. I retweeted it. There's a guy named Terrence McKenna who's this like psychedelic bard.
So that is the clip. Jamie's in the CIA, isn't he? Jamie, what's going on with Jamie? You know what I mean? We're all having a good time here. We're all having a good time. You're having a good time. We're just hanging out, man. We're just sharing golf stories. This guy has to come in defense. Why? Huh? For who? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know. You got those talking points that he's given, I guess. But man, what a story. What a story. And I keep hearing stories like that. The guys from the Full Send podcast, I don't know if you know about those guys, the Nelk boys, they have similar stories golfing with Donald as well. And it's the same type of stuff. Very with it, very sharp. What can you say? I love that story, especially in light of everything that I've heard in the past 48 hours, 72 hours. Things are feeling really bleak. Like I said, I wanted to make this video as just as a ray of sunshine for people out there who are his supporters. It never hurts to wait. I made a video about this already explaining the whole thing. You can go and check that out. It's on the channel. But it never hurts to wait. Don't assume everything is lost. There's more developing in the next week. There's more developing in the next month. So you don't have to feel completely disenfranchised, which is how a lot of people are going to feel. You don't have to feel that way. You just got to wait and see what's going to happen, right? So they're doing their chess moves, right? And that's the reason that, this story is a big reason of those chess moves, because he's sharp, he's with it, he knows what's going on, and the other guy is the other guy. He needs Jamie to defend him, right? So there's reasons that they're doing this, of course, and it's not. I don't think it's gonna fare well in regards to how people are gonna feel. I think you want everybody, right? I would be just as opposed to Biden not being taken off any kind of ballot because somebody was like, oh, we don't like him, or mental this or anything. I would be like, that's crazy, because he does have supporters. They do exist, many supporters, in fact, and they should have the right to access the person that they want to see in the position, and all sides deserve that. And hopefully that's what we see. I'm gonna keep finding little stories like this about him, because people deserve to hear the stories, and also people deserve to see their guy in a shining light. I know when I search my algorithm, it doesn't pop up like that all the time, and I gotta search for it, and it's not exactly fair. So, don't feel disenfranchised. Not yet. You gotta keep strong, and you have to believe in the system that's in place. You can't go the other way, where you don't believe in the system that's in place. You have to believe in the system that's in place. You have to believe that your vote does matter. You have to believe that, you're not being pushed out of the game. Because that's what it probably felt like some people when the whole Colorado decision was announced. It probably felt like you were being pushed out, like your opinion didn't matter. And that's not what's happening. There's an attempt, but that's not what's happening. What they're doing for, it goes back to that old saying, you can't control how people, you can't control what people do. You can only control how you react. You got to control how you react. You got to react in a proper way. You got to react in a proper way. Can't go off the deep end. Not yet. The system's still in place. It still works. There's still an election. There's also there's still ways. So there's a lot going on, and believe me, I know the situation in and out because I've been researching it all day with my wife. There's 20 other states that are involved, and it would be a terrible situation for every supporter. And again, the other side doesn't realize it would be terrible for their side as well. That it's not good for anybody. It's not good for anybody. I'm telling you. Next time around where it's somebody else, you don't want to hear about anybody, Democrat or Republican, getting taken off a ballot. You don't want to hear that. But let's move away from that. You want your president to be clutch, don't you? To pull off a shot like that, and then to sit back down and say that to that guy. And how lucky is that dude? That dude that you're watching, Bo Nickal, 27 years old, comes from a place of 5,000 people, and that's what America's all about. Guy grew up in a very small place, started training jiu-jitsu just 2 years ago, and takes the UFC by storm. He's not the craziest, but he's out there, and he's doing his thing, and he's winning fights. And next thing you know, because he won a fight, Trump sees him, he's golfing with Trump. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? That's like me going out and training right now, and like in a year and a half, I'm golfing with Trump. You'd be like, what? What happened? Or like someone shares this and like Trump likes it, and the next thing you know, I'm golfing with Trump. Like, I'd lose my mind. What? But that's what America's about. That big dream. That big dream. Those big dreams. Don't let go of those big dreams, guys. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and don't give up hope. And if you're a first time to this channel, hit that subscribe button, because we will be updating the situation that's going on in terms of the ballots, seeing what's going on. And if you're from Colorado, wow, I'm sure you woke up to something very odd. And let me tell you something. Again, I'll just reiterate it one more time. Whichever side you're on, you waking up in Colorado and that has just happened, I'd be displeased either way. Either way. I don't get it. But again, just wait. Just wait. I'm very optimistic. I'm very, very optimistic. I do not think this will stand. And keep in mind, this is going to the Supreme Court. It is not final, just so you know. Just for everybody who feels kind of disenfranchised, they feel like all hope's lost. This is not final. This is going to the Supreme Court. And if they have the sense that they should have towards democracy, and again, whoever it is, even if this was Biden, I would say that if they have the proper sense, they will allow this gentleman on the ballot. Other than that, I am out.